Hi everybody and welcome to Just Saying. It is October 28th, 2013. 3 more days before Halloween. I'm Kim and I'm joined here as I am every week with my lovely partner in crime, co-host and owner of the closet, Mary. Hi Mary.
Hello Kim. Yeah, owner of the closet. You know, I was wondering earlier when I was sitting here if anything different was going to happen on Halloween night with my closet.
It hasn't before. It didn't last year.
No, it didn't. But, you know, one can only wish. So how are you?
I'm lovely. The weather's finally back to where I'm happy again. It's supposed to be 82 tomorrow.
What is it, like 120?
No. It's going to be 82 tomorrow. It was 73 on the way home tonight.
Well, I think I might hate you because I've been freezing lately.
No, you'll love me because you'll be here in like 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks.
I know.
And be enjoying the weather.
So, what's going on with you? Because I'm over here bursting with stuff.
Nothing's going on with me. Explode.
Okay. Well, first of all, I have a present here for you. You got the new one, the new style of the Shanley Hotel t-shirt.
And the right color.
Yeah, I was going to get you, he now has sweatshirts, which I have an official sweatshirt.
Yes, you do.
But when you're 102 degrees every day, I didn't think you'd want a sweatshirt, so you got the t-shirt, so you'll look really cool.
I'll take the sweatshirt, or the t-shirt now, and then I'll whine until I get the sweatshirt next time.
Exactly. Well, I have to tell you what an amazing weekend. All the work that went into it paid off, and we had a wonderful time. I was so excited to meet Maureen. It was really cool that three of us from Penn were there, myself, Anita Perez, and of course, Tara by Misha. So that was kind of neat. Mark and I showcased the new Para Co-op, which is our new thing, and it was really nice to have everybody in there watching the investigation, and of course Sal. I mean, what can you say about Sal from the Shanley? It was just totally awesome. But we froze. Friday night it was like 22 degrees. You could like write your name all over your car windshield, which was a little cold for me because even though we get the chilly weather, going from like 50, 60 degrees to 22, that was a shock. But we managed, got a little bit better. Saturday night, I think it went to 29. We were up to 29. And I was really sorry to leave. Of course, when we go up there, as you know, you've been up there enough times with me, we always stay the extra day. So we got home, I guess, about 3 o'clock this afternoon. And I just was like boo-hooing all the way home.
You had a shock. Maureen went from 80 to 22.
Yeah, but she loves it.
I know. She's crazy though.
Yeah, she absolutely loves it. And I don't know if you noticed, but Sal and Jen of Sal and Jen of Long Island, they did an awesome job as team leads.
They did. I was actually there most of Friday and part of Saturday.
Yeah, they did a great job. Maureen is like, wow. I just can't believe how somebody can walk into a room. We were sitting there after being instructed that you and Eric had seen something, and I just couldn't pick anything up. And I said to Maureen, "Are you seeing or feeling anything?" She said, "Yeah, over there." And we start taking pictures, and you should have seen what we got. Mark can't debunk it, so he's going to be analyzing it. It was just a strange light pattern that we've never seen before.
I didn't see a light. What I saw was something totally different. I know
you and Eric saw, I think it was a woman dressed in like Victorian clothes.
I did.
That's what prompted us to go up.
Yeah, I did. She was sitting in front of the arm of the chair in Joe's room, like on the floor, and she was crying. When I had Eric come over and look, he's like, it could be matrixing, but have it tagged. So I immediately yelled, tag it!
Yeah, but now that brings up a very interesting point, is the fact that, when we go out and we do these investigations and we're able to stream them live, we really rely on people in the chat looking and watching and then sending us a message, because you were able to get a message to me and I grabbed a hold of Maureen and up we went. Mm-hmm. And if we didn't go up there, we would not have gotten what we got. Maureen, actually, I'm taking pictures and she's shooting video.
Right.
And it appears like an arc of like a laser beam goes right across in front of us. And had you not spotted that and told us, something's up there, we wouldn't have gone up. So,
well, that's why you always need someone manning the chat room.
Right. Well, that's what I was doing Saturday night. Friday night, I ended up being team lead for half the night because the weather was so bad, our team leads couldn't get there, so I was one of the team leads. So Saturday night, I took it easy and manned the chat. Because, Mark, you've got to see the whole production. I mean, you can't even see him for the He's got like 3 monitors, 2 laptops, Eric probably knows what that stuff is, mixer board, and it's huge. I mean, I don't even, there's so many wires running, I don't even know how he's able to keep track of all that. So I opted to man the chat room, and I kind of went here and there. So, I mean, it was a good thing I was sitting there because I wouldn't have seen your message, and that prompted us to go up. Swampy just asked a question in the chat room if we saw the kitty. As of right now, I haven't gotten any word of anybody photographing the kitty or seeing the kitty. But I have to tell you, the kitty was very, very vocal yesterday after everybody left. So I did put my motion camera around. I haven't checked anything because I literally got home about 3 o'clock this afternoon and trying to get back into the Mary mode in her house. But it was definitely a really good time. The only thing that was really missing was you.
Aww. The crazy one running around acting a fool. Yeah, that would be me.
Well, we did it. Maureen and I. Hopefully, we made you proud.
You did.
We were foolish enough.
Mary, we can't do that. That would be 3 redheads in one place. That's not allowed by law.
I know. Maureen can't wait to watch some of the footage because I told her, I said, you look like a blonde bombshell. And she goes, how can that be? And everybody that's talking to her is saying, did you dye your hair blonde? But it's the lighting from the IR cameras that does that.
Yeah, the darker your clothes, the lighter things get. And with her hair being the darker color, it went blonde on her.
Sal just put in the chat room that they launch missiles with less equipment than Mark has, and that's absolutely true. So, and you guys are going to be proud of me, because I know Sal and Jen were. I ran cabling, and I put a camera up on the 3rd floor, and I was by myself. And the camera actually worked, and it was positioned just right.
Well,
I said, don't get used to that.
Well, I was watching it, and Sal and Jen, I'm very proud of you that neither one of you threw a pillow at the guy sleeping.
Yeah, it was good. I'm so proud of those two. I mean, they just do a great job. So thank you guys. And also a shout out to Christine and Dan from Connecticut Paranormal Research. They were there for the entire weekend. They did an excellent job too. So speaking of excellent, we have a really good show tonight, don't we?
Of course. We always have a good show.
Yeah, but tonight's an extra special show. Because tonight's our Halloween-y type show.
Do tell.
Real quick, you got a store and she's got a book.
Yeah, I got a store. Mary's got a book. Our guest is...
Go ahead. Oh, I can go. Our guest tonight is, I'm going to call her Just Saying's resident witch, because this is like the 3rd time that we've had her on, and we love her to death. She's an author, and we are lucky tonight to have Patricia Gardner on Just Saying. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. It's always fun to be on your show.
Oh, well, you're just so wonderful to have on. And you know, one of these times, Patricia, I'm going to get you to the Shanley. You're only like 3 hours away. I'm going to get you there.
That would be cool.
I know. So how are you this evening?
I'm good. Always quiet on the home front tonight.
Well, tonight it is. Are you gearing up for your special night this week?
Oh, yes, we are. We're getting ready for Samhain, which is what we call Halloween.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of things do you do in preparation?
Well, first of all, we fast from midnight the night before until after ritual, and then we eat. So we prepare all the food and have it all ready, but we don't eat it. It makes it a little hard when you smell things cooking and you know you can't eat.
Exactly. Is there anything in particular that, like for me, you know, I celebrate Easter, we always have the ham. Christmas Eve is the 7 fishes. Is there any particular traditional food that you do make?
Usually I make homemade chili, and people always, whoever is here, usually brings things from the harvest, because this is our last harvest festival. So we have like vegetables and fruits and other things that come from the harvest.
Well, you know, I was reading about all the different, for lack of a better word, I'll call them holidays, and they list Samhain as one of the most important ones. And I believe, I think it's on the Druid calendar, they refer to it as New Year's. Why is that?
Well, that's because we follow the ancient traditions when their year was done by the seasons. So being that it's the end of the harvest season, it's the end of the year. They collect all the harvest, they harvest everything, and they get it all set for next year. And so winter comes, and that's the time of sleep. That's when the earth goes to sleep, and it's time for contemplation for the spring planting and the new growth. So that's why this is our New Year's. And it's also our day to celebrate the ancestors.
Okay. Well, you know, in reading up on Samhain, for me, I always like fall, okay? And winter is not always a problem for me, although it is for some people. But I mean, once all the leaves drop and you start to get into winter, things start to look really gloomy and dismal. But in reading about how you celebrate this, it kind of changes your mind and your focus on things aren't dead and ugly looking. They're just kind of changing, and getting ready for something better. And the terminology on all of this makes it beautiful.
Yep. All our Sabbaths have to do with the seasonal changes and the turning of the wheel. They have to do with the growing and the planting and the sowing and the contemplation time, which is winter time. When you contemplate, you go within to contemplate what you want for the next year to come.
Well, I just, in looking at some of the things here, in traditional celebration, okay, now you talk about, you have your special dinner and everything like that. I read something that I thought was really cool, and it was called the dumb supper. And I'm not really sure I like the terminology dumb, because what I read about it, there's nothing dumb about it. It's very symbolic.
Right. Yep. It's when you set an extra place at the table so that the ancestors will come and join you for feast. We don't do that until after ritual because we fast, because it's a purification from the inside out. So we don't eat anything. But then we call the ancestors before we cast circle so that they come and join us.
Awesome. You know what, Eric? I need to jump off of this conversation real quick. Something just came through my Skype that shouldn't be, and I need to unload it. It looks like a virus, so I'll call you right back.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
There I am. That was odd. Did anybody else get that on their screen?
No?
Good. Hopefully I was the only one. That's why I
Well,
wanted to jump off.
Evening.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Are we still in Mercury in retrograde?
I believe so. Maybe it was the spirit saying hi.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it was some kind of advertisement that popped up, and it had an ant walking across it. And I was trying to click out of it, and it just wouldn't go. Do you see that, Patricia? We're talking about this stuff and all these weird things that are happening. Let's go back to the dumb stuff again. I'm sorry, because I was really
that happens a lot.
Kim, how come that didn't happen to you?
Hey, I have a sign outside my shop that says, Animals Impacting the World, author Mary Gasparro, going to be here November 10th. And I have a green lizard that is now living in the fold of the paper.
Well, I'm not a lizard person, but I guess that's a good sign. Is that a good sign, Patricia, to have a lizard?
Well, yes, lizards are really cool. They can teach you a lot. They can teach you how to, a lot of them have camouflage, like a chameleon. They can teach you to camouflage. They can teach you how to survive. They're very unique creatures. They teach you whatever their traits are, they can teach you, depending on the species. It doesn't matter. Any animal that comes to you can teach you through the traits that it holds.
So you're saying it's a good thing for the lizard?
I found it
Lizards are very cool. I love lizards. They're very cool.
I found it interesting that it's using the folds in your sign to stay out of the wind. So
you're also very smart.
You're protecting the lizard.
I know. I don't want to get off subject on animals and things, but I'm not into snakes and lizards and especially snakes. I'll say snakes a lot. And I do the animal communications, and I have a core group, and one of the core group members is a big old snake. And I'm like, how ironic. I know. I guess. Well, I guess I should really start to like them. I'm not a spider lover either. I'm sorry.
I'm not a dog creature.
What are you laughing at, Kim?
I'm laughing at the two of you. Every time you talk, she talks with you. When she talks, you talk with her.
I'm going to do this. You're up, Kim.
Thanks, pal. I thought we were still working on the dumb supper. Have we got off the
That's
dumb
right.
supper?
We were talking dumb supper.
Yeah.
Well, I just, the name of the dumb supper, it's, I don't like it being called dumb supper because it represents some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, change the name. But the whole concept, what is the concept of the dumb supper?
Well, it's to bring the ancestors in case they want to communicate with you, and also they really love being remembered. So if you put a place at the table for them and call to them, they kind of bring luck to you for the year to come.
Is there any way to tell if anybody showed up and was there?
Well, we always can tell because the sanctuary gets very crowded and it gets really hot in there because there's so many, not only people, but spirits in there. And their energies, like someone that, like last year at Samhain, when we set Isha's partner, his grandmother came and he felt her energies. He recognized them immediately. So, I mean, people that come to you, you recognize their energies and you know they're there. And it gets really crowded in there, and it's like you feel like you're surrounded by other people when in actuality half of them you can't see.
You're really, but you know they're there. Now,
oh, yeah, you do.
I'm not a witch, but I like the concept of the dumb supper. Would it be?
Well, you don't have to be a witch to honor your ancestors.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. If I decided to do that, that wouldn't be disrespectful.
No, they would love that. They love being remembered.
Awesome. It's a really good. What other kind of traditional things do you do?
Well, we have ritual, of course, and it always has to do with the harvest and the end of the growing season and being thankful for all the blessings of the year that passed and whatever blessings are coming in the next year. We also go around the circle usually and ask each person what it is they hope for in the next year so that each one speaks about what they hope comes to fruition during the next year. We have feast afterwards, which is always cool. We hang out and we just eat and talk and giggle a lot.
Do you have any special dishes that are always traditionally served with the meal?
Well, they each choose what they want to bring, so it's different every year, except for usually I make chili, because it's a good hearty fall dinner kind of food that sticks to your ribs. But they all bring something different, so it's like they'll just say, I'm bringing this, and I'm bringing this, and I'm bringing this, so you never really know until they decide what they're bringing.
Well,
that's the surprise of it.
I wasn't sure if there was, like something specific from the harvest, like there's always corn or there's always squash.
We always have apple cider for libation.
Okay.
Libation is when we have something to drink, and usually bread with herbed oil that we use as a libation to honor the harvest and the powers that be. And we usually always have apple cider, because that's a main harvest fruit.
Yeah.
At least in upstate New York.
I was looking earlier today, and I was reading about how the Lord of Darkness rises from the underworld and he roams the earth looking for lost souls. And is that a good thing? I mean, the Lord of Darkness, I don't know if the lost souls, is he bringing them down or is he bringing them back home where they should be?
He's bringing them to the other side. A lost soul is usually someone that's earthbound and haven't found their way to the other side yet. So he comes and he guides them.
So that has to do with the veil thinning at this particular time of the year?
Yeah, it makes it really easy for spirits to get through, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. They don't have to break through the veil. They can just come on in because it's not there. Starts at fall equinox and thins right up until Samhain.
So right
That's
now,
one of, right now, yeah.
right now it's thin.
The trick-or-treating, they do trick-or-treating now, but back in the day, they would place goodies outside the door for the good spirits to keep the negative spirits from entering the home.
Well, I think with Halloween, it's not only, well, it's changed drastically, but I mean, different areas had different traditions when it came to Halloween.
Yes. There are many different traditions. You can't even count them all. There are so many.
Well,
Most groups that are together usually have their own traditions. So that's usually how it works. They have their own. Each group would have their own specific traditions.
right. Well, being from St. Louis, the thing was back in the early 1900s was the costumes were worn to hide from the bad spirits.
Right, and that happened long before the 1900s. This was way back in the day. And masks, costumes came to being because that way they could walk among the demons and not be seen. They thought they were one of their own. So that's why the masks, that started long before the 1900s.
Right, and something about the bonfires showed the way for the family to come.
Well, I know that some traditions would have bonfires to keep the light in the darkness so that negative couldn't hide.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying where I'm from, it was to bring ancestors, family that had passed in for the evening. It was...
Well, that would help them to guide them.
Right.
We have a table in what we call the ISIS room. And on that table, and the table's up all year round, has to do with, like, there are pictures of people in the family who passed, and there's skulls, and not real ones, of course, and other things that have to do with death. And people in the Coven will bring little mementos to put on the table to help the connection easier to connect with their ancestor to bring them forward.
Well, that's cool.
I read, I don't know if it's over in Scotland or Ireland, that they do the bonfire and people walk around it and they drop a stone. And after the fire goes out, you come back the next day, and if that stone that you dropped is moved in any way, shape, or form, it is said that you're not going to live out the rest of the year. I don't know that I like that tradition, that one.
Well, that's a creepy tradition.
I know. Well, you know, I had mentioned to you earlier about bonfires, but each, it seems like each country has a different variation as to why they do the bonfires. So,
Yeah.
I like the nice ones. Don't ask me to toss a stone, Kim. I won't do that, right?
Mary will
That's for sure.
toss it with glue on it so it'll stick.
Yeah, stick. Put it in fresh cement. That would be my luck. Somebody walking around the circle would kick my stone. Then I'd be in real trouble. So, you know, here it is, Halloween coming up this week. And you go to stores, and you go to businesses, and you go to people's homes, and you've got a witch flying on a broom with a pointed hat, a black cape, and a good old green face with a boil on the end of the nose. It really doesn't give a good...
We don't like those depictions of us. They are insulting. Though I do have a green witch here. She's about 2 feet tall. She's pretty neat. But she's very cute. She has no warts. The pointed hat is called the conical hat. And they're used to center and focus your energy. So yes, a conical hat is a real thing. Green witches are not.
Either that, you're spending a lot of money with CoverGirl.
Right? We use brooms too, but we use brooms to sweep away negative from our past. We don't ride them, as much as I would like to.
Would save a lot of money in gas, that's for sure.
Yep.
And no traffic jams.
Exactly.
Well,
So both my cats are afraid of brooms, which is really weird.
that is weird.
I know, I told him, I said, what kind of witch's cats are you if you're afraid of a broom? All you have to do is pick one up and they both disappear. It's very amusing to watch.
What about your cat, Kim?
She'll chew on the broom straws. She doesn't care.
I don't know if mine runs through. I don't use a broom that often because I have a little dust buster that I go around using all the time.
Oh no, that around here is a nightmare because Spanky taught Jimmy how to bark at it and be afraid of it.
Uh-oh. So, Patricia, getting back to, how witches are depicted on a broom, how does stuff like that start?
That started a long time ago when they demonized us and our deities to convert people. We get really annoyed by their depictions and people's attitudes, like the last week on the Today Show. They were talking about schools banning Halloween, no costumes and candy in school, and that was cool, whatever. But then Al Roker said it was because they didn't want to celebrate unwholesome pagan holidays. That upset us. And a number of us messaged the Today Show. We never did get a response, but it was annoying that they would say something on national TV when they don't even know what they're talking about. There's nothing unwholesome about respecting and remembering your ancestors. We have nothing to do with Satan. Satan is a Christian concept. He belongs to them, not to us.
Well, I want to comment on that because you and I talked about that a little bit last week, and I can certainly understand why it would put you up in arms. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I am Christian, and I grew up 12 years at Catholic schools in the whole 9 yards, and all of our holidays. And let me back up. I have read on Facebook, people that put out there, that the Christians stole the pagan holidays. And of course, when I first started reading this, my chest popped up, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, But it's true. I went and looked at all of the different holidays, and I'm not going to get into a big debate over any of that. But the one thing that I will say, I do agree with you. You got the pagan holidays have already been established, okay? And we've been celebrating Halloween as we know it for, I don't know, Kim, have any idea how long Halloween with the trick-or-treating's been going on?
Forever.
Exactly. Now, why is it all of a sudden we can't celebrate it because it's a pagan holiday?
But I have to say something here. For the first time, that the pagans finally lasted longer than the Christians because they took Christmas and the word Christmas out of the schools years ago, like 10 years ago. So at least Halloween got this far before they came after them.
I'm in the middle with everything because, believe it or not, Patricia, 99.9% of my friends are witches, okay? And we all get along. I celebrate Christmas, okay? And sometimes, like this week coming up, I have a very special friend that I will, I love to talk about Samhain with her. And, she wants to spend time and do one of her things. I'm here to listen. And I don't sit back and say, well, wait a minute, that's like, you're sitting there with the devil and you're doing this. I actually appreciate the concept of all of the things that you all do. And for Al Roker to come along and say that, I mean,
You know what? I'm sure Nestle's and Hershey really loved him saying that.
Well, I was hoping that we would get a response because after I put it on Facebook, a number of people who are pagan on my Facebook also messaged to the Today Show, but there was never any response. And he insulted an entire large group of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
He really should research before he speaks.
But Kim's right. Things have changed so much that, you know, you're afraid to open up your mouth and say anything for fear of, you know, you're going to start a big to-do about it, especially in the schools.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to change all of that. You know, you can only start with one person at a time and hope that, you know, it catches on, like pay it forward. But yeah, that was bad news last week, and it's really a shame that, you know, maybe they just don't know how to come back and answer that. You know, oh, you heard it wrong. No, I don't think so, and I'm sure you weren't the only one that heard it.
No, I'm sure I wasn't, and I didn't hear wrong because it was very blatant, and I was sitting right in front of the TV because I was writing out things for my students, and when you said it, I dropped my pen and said, "Excuse me, what did you just say?" And so I immediately got onto the Today Show website, and I said, "Really? Did Alroka really just say that?"
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in your house when that came on.
Really, because it was like I was really mad. I didn't act mad in the email, but I was really mad.
Well, it's ridiculous. They want you to be so politically correct and don't offend anyone, and yet they're the first ones to open their big fat mouths and say something like that.
Exactly. You know, he could have at least said, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize what I was saying, and I didn't know the traditions," or blah, 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 whatever. But he should have at least responded.
Yeah, somebody should have.
Well, absolutely. And you know what? These comedians, when they make a off-colored remark, they're like banished forever. I think Al Roker ought to join the crowd.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
I don't like it when people speak without thinking or without knowing what it is they're speaking about.
Oh, I speak all the time without thinking, but at least I know what's coming out of my mouth.
And that's the truth.
It is.
I will back her up on that one. Kim's really good with a cause, but she's not a stoop knot.
Yeah, I'm not a stoop knot. It's Mary's word for
stoop knot. It's one of my. I'm going to start a dictionary of words.
That's right.
Okay, stoop knot is like at the top of the list.
Sort of like a dillweed?
No, stoop.
Yeah, a stoop knot is not a dillweed, because a dillweed they calculate and they do these things because they know they're doing it. A stoop knot just does stuff because they're stupid.
See?
But you can't get mad at them because they're just plain old stoop knots. Hey, I'm a stoop knot on a good day. I admit it.
She has her days.
Back to Halloween and traditions. The witches wearing black. Why was black such, you know, a color that was chosen by them and you and whoever, you know?
Well, we do try to wear black because it keeps the negative away. It's like a barrier. So it keeps negative away from us. So we wear a lot of black.
Yeah, but I read somewhere back in the day you wore black to kind of hide yourself a little bit on going to your meetings.
Well, it was kind of like
back in the day, yeah. Well, even people now that are still in hiding, there are a lot of us out there that haven't come out of the broom closet, so to speak, because of the way the outside world treats us. So they would probably wear a lot of black to blend in and hide from those who might try to harm them. Well,
it's also wearing black is also a way was considered a way of hiding from certain spirits. Because
it's because it pushes negative away, so the spirits won't see you if they don't know you're there, if you're wearing black, because it blocks you.
Right, like in the olden days, people specifically wore black to funerals so that when the spirits came to take the person who passed, that they wouldn't see the rest of them.
In our traditions, for a funeral, you actually wear white.
Oh.
Really now? And why is that?
Because it's not an ending, it's the new beginning to something else, a new journey.
See what I'm saying? I love the concept of things. You take something that's, a sad situation of losing somebody, but you turn it into something beautiful at the same time.
Exactly. Because we know we'll meet again.
Yes. I was reading about traditional illumination. That's where they took gourds, cut the gourds out, and they would put a candle inside. This is like the concept of a pumpkin. I mean, we're looking at pumpkins today. I get a pumpkin every year, not to carve it, just to make it look cool. My husband likes the seeds inside, but we all always
I like to have the little ones. I like to get the little ones, they're gourds, but they look like pumpkins, the little orange ones, and put them on the altar.
Okay. The concept that I was reading behind these traditional illuminators, and here it is, is to protect from harmful spirits. I think years ago they actually carried them around when they were walking around at night, and they also put them outside to protect from the spirits. Now around here, you put a pumpkin outside and you light it, some kid comes along, picks it up and tosses it out in the street. So obviously it's not working at my house.
Nobody stole the cat pumpkin.
Well, that's because negative spirits don't like the light. So if you put the light outside, or if you carry it with you, they'll avoid you because they don't like the light. They like the dark.
Yeah, maybe it's the people in your closet that are throwing it and not the kids.
Don't you go picking on my closet.
Because last year you didn't have a big problem with the closet, and the cat pumpkin stayed on the porch the entire time.
That's true.
Just saying.
I have a question for you in the chat room. Do you celebrate the triple goddess, maiden, mother, and crone?
Yes. In our coven, I represent the crone. But yes, we do believe in the triple goddess, maiden, mother, crone. It also represents spring, summer, and winter. The triple fates also represent the triple crone, the triple goddess.
My camera.
Yeah, that came from Swampy. I'm not even sure what that was, so thank you for explaining. So, do you get together on, Halloween is what, Thursday?
Yes.
And you also celebrate Samhain on the 31st?
Yes.
Or do you get together with your coven, or do you do a celebration privately?
Both. I usually have like a small, I give offering to the gods and goddesses for the harvest, for the blessings, before everyone gets here, and then we all do it together.
Okay. You know how
this last Espit, I did it 2 nights in a row. To us, the Espit is a full moon, and the first 2.5 days of the energies of the full moon are the strongest. So on the first night of the full moon, my students and I went down to the river, to the Sacred Grove, and did ritual. And then on the second night, Seth East and his partner came, and we did it here in the sanctuary. So that was very cool.
Now, is anything special on November 1st for you?
November 1st, no.
Okay, because I know we celebrate All Souls Day.
Right. But that's what we do on Salon. It's for the ancestors and those who have passed. So it's kind of like all rolled into one.
Yeah, they're similar. Just wish we could all get along and make it all work.
Some of us
Wouldn't that
do.
be nice?
Yes. Kim? Sorry.
I said some of us do.
Yes. Well, I do. I mean, one of these days I'm going to get an official broom. Now, Swampy's in the chat room, and Swampy says he's going to start making brooms, and I want to be his first customer.
Cool.
Yeah. He's got some kind of tree in his yard that he said will work really well, so I said, put me at the top of your list.
Make sure you ask the tree's permission first.
Did you hear that, Swampy? You got to ask permission from the tree.
And you should always leave an offering of some sort for whatever you take.
True. So let's talk about some more of significance with some of the witch apparel and other things other than apparel. For example, the black cat. What does the black cat represent?
Well, the cat, it doesn't have to be black. I have one that's black and one that's calico. There are familiars, and they lend energy to whatever workings we do. I know they love being in sanctuary when we make circle. They just can't wait to get in there. The energies, they love the energies, and they give their energy to share with ours to create the circle and to do whatever workings that we do. Samhain is also a great night for scrying.
Ooh. Kim and I like scrying.
Cool.
So what do you consider scrying?
Well, there are many ways to scry. You can use a crystal ball, you can use flame, you can use water. Those are the three that we usually use, though you can use, they're all forms of divination, tarot cards, bones, runes. There are many different ways of using divination on Samhain so that you can check out what's coming and to communicate with the ancestors.
Okay. You know, I want to jump back to the bonfire again. There was something that I missed that I wanted to ask you. Fire seems to play an important role here. What's the significance?
Well, fire is a very powerful element, but if you're not careful with it, you can get really badly burned. It also has to do with the will, your will to do whatever it is you're working at. So it helps to bring your will to the front so that you can perform the magic.
Okay. That works. What was the other thing? Kim, jump in for a second.
Well, I'd like to, but...
No, I got papers all over here, and I've been reading all up, and I had all this information, and now I'm just trying to get it out all at the same time.
Okay, I have to ask, when you're out and about, just wherever, do you tend to pick up on other people's, can you feel or tell whether or not they're Wiccan, pagan, or not?
Yeah, usually we can spot one of our own, yeah. Their energies are different than the average person. So it's not that hard to spot one of our own.
Well, I know why Kim's asking that question.
Yeah. Within the last 2 years, all of a sudden, everybody and their brother is asking me, or even telling me, or assuming that I'm Wiccan. I have no clue.
Or assuming that you're, I'm sorry, I missed that. Or assuming that you're what?
Wiccan.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know where
well,
it comes.
It has to be the energies you're giving off.
What one psychic said that it's because I'm more grounded to the earth.
Okay, that's my element. I represent the earth. That means that whenever you're around someone, especially if they're stressed out, you're the best person to have in the room because you'll instantly ground them. And maybe you were a witch in a past life, and those energies are still with you.
I don't know. It's just funny how, for 48 years, nothing, and all of a sudden within the last 2 years, especially within the last 6 months, I've probably been asked 15 times.
Well, that could be a sign.
I love her giggle.
Don't you love her giggle?
We don't believe in coincidence.
I thought there were no coincidences.
Everything happens for a reason, so maybe you should check into that.
Actually, it's become such a running joke about this because I even had someone come into the shop I own and invite me to Witch Stock, which is some big gathering up here or down here. And one of my best customers went out and got me a little Halloween sign that we hung on the outside of the building now that says "The Witch is in."
Cool. Yeah, I have one of those.
I love it. Well, nobody ever said I was a witch.
Well, sorta, but not in those words.
Stop. Now, see, you're putting out the bad concept of a witch.
I am not. There's no such thing as a bad concept except for in idiots. I'm sorry, Stoopnod's minds.
Or dillweeds in training.
That's right. Because you know what?
We call them witches in training. That's what our students are called.
Witches in training. No, we're talking about.
No, we're talking about people who think that they're better than, or condemn somebody because they're not the same.
That's not a tradition of ours. We don't believe that we're better than anyone. We just want to be accepted like everyone else.
Oh, absolutely. No, we're talking about the closed-minded fools out here
that get on
in the world
television and say you can't celebrate Halloween because it's bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you talk about students. You are a teacher?
Yes.
How does one enroll in your school of witches?
Well, we don't go looking for students. They find us.
Mm-hmm.
When they've been called and they feel that they want to learn more, they come. I teach. They choose whether or not it's the path for them. If it is, then they learn more. If it's not, then they go somewhere else and keep searching.
And how do you know when people come to you, okay, and they say, Patricia, I'd like you to be my teacher. I want to follow your ways. How do you know that they really mean it? Or it's just not a fad?
There's a lot of work involved.
Okay.
It's not where, we do all the work for you and you just kind of sit there. You actually have to do the work. We give you the tools. We're there to guide you. We're there to answer questions. But you have to do the work. And, they have to read a lot, a list that's never ending. They have to study. They have to learn things. They have to be able to do things without reading them. It takes a lot of work. And so after the first, they had 3 months to come to class to decide whether or not they want to dedicate. If they dedicate, then they have the next year to do nothing but learn. If in that length of time it's too much work for them, they don't stay.
Okay. I know because, I'm looking at it as a paranormal investigator, and, you have so many people that approach us and say, hey, I want to be part of your team. They watch things on... They watch things on television, you have the movies and the ghost hunters and things like that, and, they think it's cool, and all of a sudden they want to be a ghost hunter. So I'm assuming that you most likely get that too because of the Harry Potter movies that are out there.
Oh, yeah, we do. It's the notoriety of the word witch. Everybody wants to try it. But it's not a good fit for everyone. And once they realize how much work it is, just like when we were doing investigations. We only had people from the Coven on our team because they were used to working as a team.
Mm-hmm.
They were used to following orders kind of thing, you know, from the hierarchy down, so that when we told them what or what not to do, they didn't question.
Right.
They didn't go off on their own and do something stupid. So yeah, we're very, when we do investigations especially, we don't take people, just random people with us, because some investigations are dangerous. And we don't
Gotcha.
want to have to worry about someone. We have to worry about who's ever living there, and the team, we don't want to have to worry about any more people than necessary. So we won't take, or we didn't take just average people with us.
Gotcha.
Like in the Coven, if you don't follow the rules, you don't last long, because there are rules.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Patricia, unfortunately, our hour is up. It went fast.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow, that was
Taught us
quick.
so much. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, how will they do that?
They can get on my Facebook page, ravenfollower13 at gmail.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we always enjoy talking to you.
And thank you for asking. Anytime, darling.
Thank you, Patricia.
All righty.
And have a happy Samhain, you guys.
You
Thank
too.
you. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I love her giggle.
I know. She's a sweetheart, and I've been lucky enough to talk to her a lot on Facebook. And if anybody wants a really sweet person to talk to, go find Patricia Gardner on Facebook. So what do we got going on besides we got to get out of here?
That's pretty much it.
The town of Marshall Haunted Holidays.
Oh yeah, Marshall Haunted
November
Holidays.
9th.
November 9th.
And join us back here next week because we have Joseph on.
That's right. Or as Mary calls him, Joey.
Alrighty.
With that, we're out of here.
That's it.
Say
We're gonna
goodnight.
Say goodnight. And stick around. We have another show following.
Night.
Good night.